Yashodanandana Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Sakala Sundarari Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada Srimad Bhagavatam Srimad is divine grace, Lacy Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Dham Vishnupad Paramahansa Sri Rajagatar Asatara Sata Shri Srimad Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavini Ki Jai. Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai.
Chanting the Krishna prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo
Jai Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Jai
Namaskritya
Vayanam Namaskritya
Cheva Narottamam
Nam Jaiva Naruttamam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Devim Saraswatim
Tato Jayam Udirayet Nashtamrayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki Thank you for the opportunity to discuss Srimad Bhagavatam today. So we'll reading discussing Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 6, chapter number 16:16 and verse number 42. 6:16:42. So yeah, the verse we can recite. Kakshemo nija parayo, kakshemo nija parayo, kiyan varta swaparadruha dharmena, kiyan varta swaparadruha dharmena, swadroha tava kopaha, swadroha tava kopaha, parasampidaya cha tata dharmaha, parasampidaya cha tata dharmaha. Yes, you can read the word for word meaning. Kaha, what? Kshemaha, benefit. Nija, to oneself. Parayo, and to others. Kiyan, how much? Va, are. Arthaha, purpose. Swaparadruha, which is envious of the performer and of others. Dharmena, with the religious system. Use the keyword for this verse. Swadroha, from being envious of one's own self. Envious of one's own self. Tava, of you. Kopaha, anger. Parasampidaya, by giving pain to others. Cha, also. Tata, as well as. Adharma, irreligion. So, translation for good by Sri Prabhupada ki jai. How can a religious system that produces envy of oneself and of others be beneficial for oneself and for them? What is auspicious about following such a system? What is actually to be gained by causing pain to oneself due to self envy? Self envy is the key point for this verse. And by causing pain to others, one arouses your anger and practices irreligion. So, purport by Sri Prabhupada. Any religious system, but the process of Bhagavata Dharma, service as an eternal servant of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the system of envy of one's own self and of others. For example, there are many systems of religion in which animal sacrifices are recommended. Such animal sacrifices are inauspicious both for the performer and for the animal. Although one is sometimes permitted to sacrifice an animal before the goddess Kali and eat it instead of purchasing meat from a slaughterhouse, permission to eat meat after a sacrifice in the presence of goddess Kali is not the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It's simply a concession for the miserable person who will not give up eating meat. It is meant to restrict his desire for unrestricted meat eating. Such a religious system is condemned. Therefore, Krishna says, Sarvadharman parityaja mamekam saranam praja. Give up all other duties and surrender unto me. That is the last word in religion. Next paragraph. One may argue that the sacrifice of animals is recommended in the Vedas. This recommendation, however, is a restriction. Without Vedic restrictions on the purchase of meat, people will purchase meat from the market, which will be overflooded with meat shops and slaughterhouses will increase. To restrict this, sometimes the Vedas say that one may eat meat after sacrificing an insignificant animal like a goat before goddess Kali. In any case, a system of religion in which animal sacrifices are recommended is inauspicious for those who perform the sacrifices and for the animals. Envious persons who perform ostentatious animal sacrifices are condemned in Bhagavad Gita 16.70 as follows. Atma Sambhavita Sabda Dhanamana Madanvitaha Yajante Nama Yajnaste Dambe Navidi Purvakam. Self-complacent and always impudent, deluded by wealth and false prestige. They sometimes perform sacrifices in name only, without following any rules or regulations. Sometimes animal sacrifices are performed very gorgeously with grand arrangements for worshipping the goddess Kali. Festivals, although performed in the name of yajna, are not actually yajna. For yajna means to satisfy the supreme personality of Godhead. Therefore, it's recommended that in this age, specifically, Yajna Sankirtana Praya Yajantihi Sumedasaha. Those who have good intelligence satisfy the Yajna Purusha Vishnu by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. Envious persons, however, are condemned by the Supreme Personality of Godhead as follows. Ahankaram balam darpam kamam krodam cha samsritaha mamatma paradeheshu pradvishanto abhyasuyakaha Tanaham Trishata Puran Samsareshu Naradaman Shipami Ajasram Ashubhan Asurishi Ishveva Yonishu. Bewildered by false ego, strength, pride, lust, and anger, the demon becomes envious of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is situated in his own body and in the bodies of others, and blasphemes against the real religion. Those who are envious and mischievous, who are the lowest among men, are cast by me into the ocean of material existence, into various demoniac species of life. Bhagavatam 16.18-19. These persons are condemned by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as indicated by the words Avakopaha. A person who commits murder is envious of himself and also the person he has killed. But the result of committing murder is that he will be arrested and hanged. If one transgresses the laws of a man-made government, he may escape being killed by the state. But one cannot escape the laws of God. A killer of any animal must be killed in his next life by the same animal. This is the law of nature. One must follow the instructions of the Supreme Lord. Sarva dharman parityaja mamekam sharanam braja. If one follows any other system of religion, is subject to punishment by the Supreme Person of Godhead in many different ways. Therefore, if one follows a concocted system of religion, is envious not only of others but also of himself. Consequently, his system of religion is useless. Srimad Bhagavatam 128 says, Dharma swanistita pumsam visvakshena kadasuyaha norpadayed yadiratim sramayeva kevalam. Duties, dharma, executed by men, regardless of occupation, are only so much useless labor if they do not provoke attraction for the message of the Supreme Lord. Last sentence. Following a system of religion that does not awaken one's Krishna consciousness or God consciousness is merely a waste of time and labor. So, we praise Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Chakshurumritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Imam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pachatya Desatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you for the opportunity to discuss Srimad Bhagavatam. So it's our great privilege to discuss Srimad Bhagavatam every day. Srimad Bhagavatam is meant to be discussed, not just heard. Prabhupada writes on the purpose in the first canto. So it will be enriched with our discussion. So it leaves enough time for the discussion also at the end. So Srimad Bhagavatam is wonderful. And through Srimad Bhagavatam, we can associate with not only Krishna himself, because Krishna himself is Srimad Bhagavatam, and we also get association of Srila Prabhupada through his transcendental purports and through great personalities who are speaking. Like in this section, Chitraketu Maharaj is speaking. So we get association of Chitraketu Maharaj. And who is speaking this Kada about Chitraketu Maharaj? Sukadeva Goswami and Parikshit Maharaj are engaging in conversation. So we get the association of Sukadeva Goswami also like this. And when Parikshit Maharaj is asking questions, we are getting his association also. And this overall conversation is again between Sudha Goswami and Sesa of Naimisaranya. So we're getting association of so many pure devotees and Krishna himself. That is why it's a great privilege to discuss Srimad Bhagavatam. So I'll briefly cover the context where we are, and then we can go into the specific verse also, and the practical application of our for us in our practicing devotees life like that. So three broad sections. From the context wise, we know Srimad Bhagavatam. This is the sixth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam has 10 topics. One of the 10 topics is called Poshanam, protection. So that is how Lord offers protection to the devotees like that. So this canto, each canto, each canto describes all the 10 topics. But some cantos describe a little bit more like on one of the topics. My remembrance is that the sixth canto is describing about Poshanam more. So in the sixth canto, very broadly, in the beginning we heard about Ajamila pastime that describes the glories of the holy name, how Ajamala achieved perfection by chanting the holy name, like that. That's the first section we heard. And the next section was a brief section was about Daksha. And then following that, there was section about longer section. That is where we are in. About Chitraketu Maharaj pastime. So we are towards the, I would say, middle of the Chitraketu pastime. That goes from 14th chapter to 19th chapter. So we're in 16th chapter now. So far, what happened is Chitraketu Maharaj was a great king, and however, he had no son. In spite of his trying so hard by marrying so many, very large number is given in Bhagavatam. I don't remember the exact number. In 10 million. Wow. 10 million. We cannot even imagine. So, scriptures have a way to describe two things. Scriptures are describing the reality, history, not just made up stories, number one. Number two, scriptures are trying to make a point with exaggerate with the bigger numbers. So that's why they take a use case or a particular pastime that clearly highlights the importance of one particular point in our life as devotees. So in this particular pastime, overall the whole pastime, the emphasis is that how material attachments are so dangerous, or material affection, material attachment can be dangerous for a devotee. That is, which is usually a result of a bodily conception of life. So the overall message of the pastime is how we need to be seated in spiritual conception of life and accept what Krishna is giving us in our life and properly, and then move closer towards Krishna through devotional service. That's the essential theme of the whole pastime. So he did not have any sons. And then, with the mercy of Narada Muni and Angira Muni, he gets a son also. But the son, instead of giving him only happiness, which is not possible in the material world, because the Dukkale Masasutam, like Krishna discussed in Bhagavad Gita. So he was named as so Harsha Soka. Harsha Soka. That means one who gives happiness, one gives sadness also. So what happens is the son was born, he was very, very happy. But then he started giving the attention to the one wife who gave the son and spent a lot of time to that one son only and one wife only. Sri Prabhupada ki jai. So, and then all the other wives, they did not have any attention from their husband. and they felt that they're not getting that affection from their husbands. So they became envious. So then they poisoned the sun. And because of envy, when envy arises in our heart, then intelligence is gone. So because of that, they poison the sun, thinking that he is the cause of their not getting attention. So that's how the past time progresses. So that's why the envy is another important topic being addressed also in this particular verse today. So they're very envious and they kill the sun. Finally, they get enlightened by the sun who is awakened by the sages and also by the sage Narada himself. So Chitraketu Maharaj, and through him in this section, where Narmani instructed him about transcendental knowledge, how this body is temporary, these material relationships are temporary. We're all meant to serve Krishna and then uh, situate permanently in his service like that. So the transcendental knowledge Narmani gave, previous section. So after that, Narmani gives him a particular mantra to chant. So then he chants the mantra in few days, if I remember correctly. So he gets the direct face-to-face darshan of the Supreme Lord. So when he gets the darshan of Supreme Lord, he's offering beautiful prayers. That is the section we are in. That's the overall context of Chitraketu Maharaj offering prayers to Supreme Lord. These prayers to Supreme Lord by pure devotees are very valuable as association for us, valuable inspiration for us, and they can give valuable understanding of how, as a devotee, my consciousness should be also. That's why whenever we get prayers, we should be inspired to pay attention and learn from pure devotees and take association of pure devotees. So they're sharing their heart with us. So in this context, he started to discuss how Supreme Lord is the only shelter for us. How pure devotion service is the best thing one can do. And other religions are not best thing to do. Because like Paramanand Prabhu described yesterday, they are considered cheating religion. That means why they're cheating? They're not helping us to give the highest goal. Highest goal is to be engaged in service of the Supreme Lord. And that way we are eternally happy and we can experience ever growing happiness. Not just happiness for one day, 1 month, 1 year, but we can be happy eternally. And then happiness keeps growing, not like in material world like that. So describing how pure devotion is the best thing to do in this section. And the words used is Bhagavata Dharma is the best thing to do. And then anything other than Bhagavad Dharma, that is against oneself and others, is rejected in this particular verse today. So that is the overall context. He's glorifying how we need to take up Bhagavad Dharma, take shelter of Supreme Lord only, and don't take shelter of any other devatas, and don't take shelter of any other cheating religions or religions that are concocted. Concocted means somebody thinks this is the best, not referring to scriptures, not referring to Supreme Lord like that. Yesterday's purport we are hearing how we need to accept whatever Krishna is giving as a religion. Then, so that instead of making up my own religion like that. So is continuing on that theme, and one of the techniques in teaching is to give contrast. So what good looks like, what bad looks like. So we get a clear understanding. So that's what Chitraketu Maharaj is also sharing with us. What good looks like he was sharing, and then now what bad looks like he's telling. So Prabhupada quotes many verses in this purport, but one verse he quotes twice. Anybody noticed? Yeah, 1866. Yeah, Sarvadharman Parityajya Mavikam Sharanam Vraja. That verse he quoted twice. So even in yesterday's purport also Prabhupada quoted the same verse. So Prabhupada is emphasizing the surrender aspect to Supreme Lord, not anybody else like that. That is one thing I can notice. So we talked about Bhagavad Dharma. And then he says, this particular is he saying, Prabhupada quotes two things in the purport from yesterday also. Basically, what is pure devotion service? What is Bhagavad Dharma? Prabhupada defines it in few different ways. by reference to scriptures. One is Anyabhyashita verse that Paramananda Prabhu quoted yesterday, which is pure definition from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, which Sri Prabhupada summarizes nectar of devotion for us. Anyabhyashita Sunyam, Jnana Karmadi Anavritam, Anukulyena Krishnanushilina, Bhakti Ruttama. So essentially, this verse is describing, uh, before I describe the verse, Prabhupada is emphasizing in this section the importance of not having any material desires, but instead practicing devotion with Krishna as center and to serve Krishna, to please Krishna. That is the overall theme Prabhupada is emphasizing in this set of purports. So, in this connection about this particular verse, Anya Vilashita Sunyam. That means Anya, Abhilasha means desire. Anya Abhilashita means serving Krishna. That is one thing. So then, Jnana Anavrutam. That means only Bhakti is the best path for us. Bhakti is the only path for me to get progress like that. Having that faith and accepting that Bhakti as a path like that. That means have some jnana and some karma tendencies, but that should not overpower each other. So jnana and karma tendencies will be there in Bhakti because we are not pure. Jnana and karma tendencies should not cover our bhakti. That is what we need to do as practicing devotees. What does it mean covering bhakti? That means we should not at any time think, oh, doing this sacrifice is more important than me chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra or doing Sravanam like that. So we should not place more importance on the karma conditions, for example. So then, similarly, jnana. So, Jnana yogis commonly place extreme emphasis on detachment and renunciation. So, bhakti, we don't have the karmi tendency of enjoying everything that we have, jnana tendency of rejecting everything. Bhakti is, like Prabhu was describing yesterday, Yukta Vairagya principle, which is we see every part and parcel of Krishna, everything is meant to serve Krishna. So we utilize everything in service of Krishna. That is a bhakti tendency. So sometimes devotees can go in one of the directions. Like Krishna is Bhavagraha Janadana. I can do whatever I want without rules. Prabhupada is emphasizing not following rules is not good like that here. So that's called Niyamagraha, nectar of instruction. So not like that. Or sometimes devotees take to extreme austerities without considering is it impacting my bhakti or not. Ultimately, always we need to see, am I able to practice bhakti according to instructions of my guru and acharyas by doing this. So that is the way we can see how to follow a particular austerity and to what level to follow also. So austerity is to be followed what is described in scriptures by our guru sadhu shastra. And austerities are meant to be followed so that we can grow in bhakti, not to show that how great I am, I can do this austerity like that. So that is the essence of following any rules and regulations or austerities for Bhakti Yogi practitioner. Prabhupada commonly gives an example. Like if I'm doing Ekadasi, first of all, scriptures recommend us to do fasting on days like Ekadasi and festival days, Krishna's appearance day, like that, festival days. So it's a good thing to do. But Prabhupada also emphasizes that if I'm not able to chant because of fasting, because of extreme fasting, let us say I don't take water, I don't take any food, and I'm not able to chant because of that. I'm not able to do any seva because of that. But my duties include doing some service to the family, doing service to the temple, doing service to the community, and doing service to Krishna directly through all these mechanisms. But if by fasting I'm not able to do that thing, Prabhupada encourage you eat something, then do seva instead. Like that means go to the next lower level of austerity, for example, like eating fruits, for example, like that. So that's the importance of following rules and regulations also. In the context of bhakti, we can do practice bhakti like that. So that's the aspect about this verse. And Jnana karmadi anavrutam. How they should not cover the bhakti. Yeah. Ankulyena Krishnanu Shilda. So the heart of the whole bhakti process, anukulyana. Which means it's favorable to Krishna, it's pleasing to Krishna. With that intention, we perform bhakti. Core principle is bhakti is that Krishna is pleased. Core intention of bhakti is not, I will become happy. That is there as a byproduct. But the core intention is that Krishna is pleased. That is what is described with the anukulyana. That is the heart of the whole bhakti. Then Krishna Anushilita. Anushilita means cultivation. Prabhupada writes the purport of nectar of instruction also. Cultivation. So, how are we cultivating? We are cultivating by the process given by Guru Sadhu Shastra. The 9 process of devotion service are there. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. Starting with hearing, chanting and remembering Supreme Lord. So, through those, we cultivate our bhakti like that. That is the highest form of bhakti described. So, if you notice, so when this means when we are doing it for pleasure of Krishna, then we try to understand what does Krishna like. So I will do that. What Krishna doesn't like, so I will not do that. So, so if you're in this verse, Prabhupada emphasizes on animal sacrifices. So if you're killing animals, if you're contributing towards killing animals, then what are we doing? We're doing something Krishna doesn't like. Because all living entities, not only human beings, but animals, birds, insects, everybody is children of Krishna. So if we harm somebody, Krishna is not happy. So when we love someone, we want to do what makes them happy. So Krishna is not happy. So that is why it is considered as envy towards not only envy is described in two ways in this particular verse and purport. One is causing harm to others, like Prabhupada explains about animal sacrifices like that, or killing animals for eating meat like that. That is one angle. That is causing harm to others. Second angle is self-envy also Prabhupada talks about in this purport. How is it self-envy? Self-envy is by causing harm to other animals, I'm actually affecting my consciousness to go down. So, in my original goal to go back to Krishna and serve Krishna, I'm actually, by engaging in this mode of passion and ignorance activities, I'm slowing my progress towards going to Krishna service. So, that is why it's called envy towards me, self-envy. So, in other ways, it's described. Let us say I engage in material desires or I engage with material attachments, then what is happening is I am slowing down my progress spiritual. So that is called due to self-envy. So basically anything that is affecting my spiritual progress to go to service of Krishna is self-envy like that. We'll discuss more about that also coming up. In the purport, Prabhupada talks about the majority of the purport, Prabhupada talks about animal sacrifice. So it's important to have this understanding so that we can share with the others also whenever we get an opportunity. So why is Prabhupada emphasized on this so many times? Because spiritual life can begin and flourish when somebody is not doing sinful activities, when somebody is not engaging in lower modes of nature, mode of passion and mode of ignorance like that. That's why Prabhupada emphasized these 4 regulated principles also. No meat eating, no intoxication, no gambling, no illicit sex. These are 4 principles. And these are why these 4 are emphasized by Prabhupada and Acharyas? Because these are considered the 4 pillars of sinful life. And they take us down to mode of passion and mode of ignorance and worldly conception of life. But in spiritual life, we're trying to develop the spiritual conception that I'm a soul, I'm part and parcel of Krishna, and I'm servant of Krishna. We're trying to develop that consciousness. And then we're trying to grow to mode of goodness and beyond to transcendence. But if you're engaging in passion and ignorance, that's like lighting a fire, Prabhupada talks about, and then putting water at the same time. So both cannot happen. That is why Prabhupada says these foundational things we need to take, avoid them. Why? Growing in bhakti like that. So somebody argues, oh, why are you saying like that? Vedas talk about animal sacrifices. Vedas talk about Vedas sanction eating meat. Somebody might argue. That's what Prabhupada is trying to emphasize in the purport. That yes, Vedas tell that you can eat meat. Vedas tell you can sacrifice animal before Kali Devi and eat like that. But that's not a license to eat meat. That's not a free permission to eat meat. That's only a restriction for those who are not able to give up like that. So Krishna designed his Vedas in such a wonderful way that everybody can progress from wherever they are. For example, I'm not able to give up meat. Then Krishna gave me a facility to follow scriptures and do that still. So that way I can progressively grow from wherever I am with that. But if I'm able to give up meat, Krishna is not telling you should eat meat. That's why Prabhupada saying in his purport, it's not Krishna's order to eat meat. It's a restriction given in scriptures so that people who are not able to give up can grow up. How they'll grow up? Because they're following the Vedic system. They're doing obedience to Vedas and they're also come in contact with Brahmanas. So through that, they're actually being obedient to Krishna. So that way, their consciousness gets elevated like that. So for those people, that is given, but not for people who are able to control. So that is the one aspect Prabhupada talks about the purport essentially, most of the purport. And then second aspect Prabhupada talks about by quoting a couple of verses that those who are envious, engage in envious activities like harming others, including animal killing, then they need to face a consequence. One consequence is in the next life, animal will kill them. That's what Prabhupada is describing because that's the law of nature. Second aspect Prabhupada is describing is that they will be living in demoniac life for a long time because of this envious activity like that. But in the Bhagavad Gita is described there's a divine nature and demonic nature. So we practicing devotees are trying to grow into divine nature. In American slang, I heard it's good dog and bad dog is there in each one of us. So we cultivate the good dog and we don't feed the bad dog like that is described. So similar thing. So we need to encourage the divine aspects that are inside us. Right? So that's the other aspect Prabhupada is describing. How that is dangerous for us in our growth in Krishna consciousness like that. And Krishna, it's described, it angers Krishna also, it's described in the verse. We want to develop love for Krishna. We don't want to do anything that angers Krishna. So that's another way to look at it. Envious thing. So then finally, Prabhupada concludes the purport with the verse from first canto, second chapter that describes any occupational duty that I'm doing. It's not awakening attraction in Krishna Kada, then it is useless waste of time. That's what Prabhupada is quoting. So that's the important thing for us to realize also. So Prabhupada ends the purport with the last line about real religion also. Prabhupada commonly used to tell what is religion. Religion is, Prabhupada says, how to confirm that I'm practicing the right religion in a right way. One test Prabhupada used to tell is, I'm understanding about God and I'm developing love for God. If these are happening, then my religion is good and I'm practicing religion properly, both ways. My religion may be good, but I may not be practicing properly also. So these two aspects. That's the real test of a religion like that Prabhupada describes. So if that is not happening, instead I'm trying to harm somebody else, then that is not a right religion I should practice like that. That's how Prabhupada is emphasizing in the purport in the end, towards the end of that. So I'll conclude with few practical applications from this. One is about the talking about self-envy. How does it manifest in practicing devotees like us, the self-envy? So as we discussed, if I'm doing something harmful for my spiritual life, then I'm engaging in self-envious activity like that. So that means generally overall spiritual growth is dependent upon following certain bonding activities. Chaitanya Charitamrita's language, bonding activities. That means some chanting, hearing, worshipping deities like that, serving Vaishnavas like that, bonding activities, and then following certain boundaries like what we discussed, following four regulated principles like that. So that means if I'm not able to do some bonding activities properly, or if I'm not able to follow certain boundaries, then I'm engaging in self-envious actions. That's so we can consider this whole thing. So now, what is stopping me from engaging in bonding activities? We can observe in our own life. Because Prabhupada emphasized the surrender verse 2 times in the purport. I will take those two aspects. There are 6 limbs of surrender as given in Chaitanya Charitamrita for us. Anukulasya Sankalpa, Pratikulasya Varjanam. These are how they start with the first 2 limbs. Anukulasya Sankalpa means accepting something that is favorable to bhakti, favorable to devotion service. And then Pratikulasya Varjanam means rejecting something that is not favorable for devotion service. So if I make all my decisions in terms of what to think, what to speak, what to act using these 2 principles, then I am assured that I will do what is favorable for my chanting, what is favorable for my deity worship, what is favorable for my hearing, what is favorable to follow instructions of my guru. Like that, I will do it also. Same thing. If I'm following that, what is rejecting what is unfavorable, I understand the why I should follow these regulative principles, 4 regulative principles, why I should not engage in sinful activity. When you understand that why properly, then for the sake of pleasing Krishna again, then I follow them also. Because Krishna is saying to surrender, you reject what is unfavorable like that. So that is the other way we can accept them. So then sometimes we know this theoretically, but I'm not able to act on that platform. So temptations come for us. So what do we do in that situation? Is Swayam Bhagavan Keshav Maharaj uses a simple acronym. It's easy to remember. He says to resist the temptations, there's a cost to it. COST, cost to it. So he explains the cost like this. C is conviction. We should have conviction that I want to follow. Why I should follow. Like Maharaj was also discussing, why is important before what and how to do something. Why I want to follow bhakti? Why I want to do bonding activities? Why I want to follow the boundaries? You need to be very clear. Then that with that conviction we can do it. How do we develop that conviction? By the association of Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. That's how our intelligence will be sharpened and our conviction will be sharpened. Like from by seeing the example of pure devotees in Bhagavatam like this, wow, they achieved perfection in 7 days. Dhruv Maharaj is 6 months. Like that, we also get inspiration and conviction like that. And then when somebody makes mistake, oh, even though he made a mistake, Krishna protected him. Oh, Krishna will take care of me also. We get that conviction. That's the C aspect. And then and the cost, C is covered. O is openness. It describes we need to have openness in some trusting relationships. Like some guru or mentor, we should have open relationship with them. That means generally people think open relationship means I need to tell all my weaknesses. That is not the only part of the open relationship. Open relationship means we consider them as a friend and a guide and we trust them so much that when we're happy, we share with them. I'm happy with this. I got this wonderful relation with Krishna consciousness. I wanted to share with you like that. So when things are going nicely, we cultivate that relationship by sharing the positive aspects. That way, when things don't go as we want in bhakti, then we also get the strength to share with them. Because they're constantly encouraging us, inspiring us without judging us. So we share when something goes wrong. Then they'll tell, oh, okay, I understood. You can regret, but don't go into lamentation. Continue, move on. Do this practical things to avoid that happening again next time. Like that, they will guide us. So we take that guidance and proceed forward. That open relationship will also help us to overcome the temptations. So conviction, openness, then COST. S is safety. Just because I'm convinced, just because of conviction, just because of trusting relationship, I would not be careful. I'll try to make a safety net for myself so that I don't accidentally go into something that I don't want to go into. So that is another way of describing this, having the right environment so that we are protected from doing the right things and not doing the right things. So that is a safety. And then last thing he describes is tea. Tea is developing taste. So all this safety net and guidance are helping while we are growing in our taste for bhakti, while we are growing in our love for Krishna. The moment we develop some taste for Krishna, then we don't need so much of this. We still need the association of devotees. We still need the guidance of devotees. We still, even if my safety net is not there, still I'll be situated in my bhakti towards Krishna. To do that, I need to develop some taste. So then we need to evaluate. In bhakti process, do I have taste for anything? Okay, I have some taste for chanting. Oh, good. Let me increase my taste for chanting. Generally, we worry about what we don't have taste for. But instead, we start with what we love already in bhakti. Then we grow in that area. Then with that strength, then we can do slowly one by one bhakti. You might have observed in the material world also. Oh, sorry, fighting it. In the material world also, there is a people start on a marathon when they want to become healthy. Just because they went to marathon, they developed this muscle of determination and the consistency. So they'll be good in several other areas in life. Similarly, in bhakti, if we focus on one limb of bhakti and grow nicely in that, then we can utilize that strength we developed in all other areas also. So I'll stop here so that we can have time for any discussion also. Yeah. Please share any comments, questions, or your realizations.
First of all, thank you so much for watching the class. You said a lot of very important, extremely important points for uplifting our consciousness in our spiritual life. Especially, I admire this last point that in order to become detached from material contaminations and polluting our consciousness from anarthas, we need to develop attachment to Krishna. So by developing attachment to Krishna, to all good things that Krishna is giving us, we automatically becoming detached from all these filthy things. So this positive approach that whatever we love, whatever we are good in spiritual life, we should pay more attention because this has to develop attachment to Krishna.
Wonderful.
Very extremely important point.
Yeah. Thank you, bro, for sharing. Nice.
Hare Krishna. Because of the inspiration when you are talking, I got some.
Yeah, please.
So you told one important symbol. Yesterday also, Prabhupada Rajan was telling like how to develop relationship with Guru, like that will align everything in your path, right? So if you have strong relationship with your Guru, like so based on that love and affection with Guru, you will strictly follow within the security borders.
Yes.
And I got remember like the Ajamela story that since he don't have that association, when he saw something bad, like he got his mind got induced into that. He didn't share that. He know that is bad, but he was thinking about constantly, and he himself get into that. And he didn't share. He didn't share with anybody because like we don't have association like Guru. So what you're telling like strong association required with Guru, right?
Correct.
Only you have to tell me,
But relationship.
I'm getting this, why, how to avoid this. So like that.
Very nice use case, Madhu. Thank you, Michelle.
Such a nice class. Thank you so much, giving us context and then giving us a whole understanding of the whole purport and then our application in our life. Lots of nice examples. The cost analogy. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'll see if there's anything online.
Sure.
Okay, not right now.
Okay, sure. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Okay, we'll end there. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Thank you.
What's your name?
Sundarananda Das.
Sundarananda?
You're Jagadananda Pandit Prabhu's daughter?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Is that how you spell it? Oh.
Anand Das.
Yes. What is so much?
Govinda Maripurusha Tamaham Vachami Govinda Maripurusha Tamaham Vachami Govinda Maripurusha Govinda Hari